Well, things are certainly starting to heat up in the Democratic primary. After Sanders' huge victory in Wisconsin, the corporate media is attempting to douse the flames of Sanders' red-hot winning streak.
Clinton in the Bronx this morning, while recent polls show Donald Trump has a sizable lead against the GOP rivals ahead of New York's primary. Looking ahead, the general election, the Republican frontrunner trails behind Hillary Clinton in every poll. You see the numbers there. Joining us to give us a glimpse of what Trump might expect in November, Washington Post columnist Dana Milbank. Dana, before I fast forward to the conclusion and assume that these are both the nominees.
Okay, so what we just saw here is an assumption. Guess that's what passes for news. Let's just assume that these are the nominees. You know, I think that there's a lot of states and a lot of people that haven't voted in these states that would like to put in a vote before you just assume that these are going to be the nominees. I mean, is this what passes for news? Why are we doing this? Why are we assuming this? Why are we doing this? Answer me that. You know, what she's reporting here is true. Now, to a degree. Now, Clinton does beat Trump in those three polls. This is true. But what that doesn't mention is that Hillary loses to Cruz in one of those polls. So we're just going to assume that these are the nominees, and then we're not going to mention that Hillary loses to Cruz in one of those polls. And then guess what? We're not going to include Bernie Sanders in there. We're not going to include Bernie Sanders, the guy that beats Trump by larger margins than Hillary does, and he beats Cruz too by larger margins to Clinton. Clinton loses one of them, Bernie wins all of them. It's just, you know, while this data is true, it just leaves out key information that really just points toward helping Clinton. It's just bad reporting. It's bad news. So we'll move on here to the next, literally the next story that she's going to do after this.
Again this morning, if the Sanders campaign has reached a new low. I'll go to what he told our own Casey Hunt in response to a request made by a family member of someone who died in Sandy Hook that Senator Sanders should apologize for saying that victims cannot sue gun manufacturers. He did not directly respond to that individual, instead said that Hillary Clinton should apologize for those who lost their lives in Iraq. Is that a fair response?
So Tamron Hall says, we're asking ourselves again if Bernie Sanders' campaign has reached a new low. We're asking ourselves again if his campaign has reached a new low. So it makes it sound like we've already asked this many times before, and it's just, God, when is this mudslinging from Bernie Sanders ever going to end? God, he just keeps getting just dirtier and dirtier and just slinging mud at poor Hillary. What a joke. This guy's run a clean, policy-driven campaign from the very fucking beginning. So don't sit there and make it sound like he's been slinging mud, because you know that's patently untrue. Okay, then we move on to this. The way Tamron Hall reports it, I'm a little pissed now. The way that she reports it is that the person that did the interview with Bernie Sanders stated the question correctly when they didn't. Okay, the interviewer from MSNBC, mind you, asked, or told Bernie Sanders that Hillary's campaign was demanding an apology for what happened in Sandy Hook, okay? What happened was there was a family member of somebody that was killed at Sandy Hook, and they are demanding an apology from Bernie, okay? It's one family that's demanding an apology. But the reporter stated that the demand for an apology came from Hillary's campaign. So the MSNBC reporter fucked up the source of the question. So Bernie Sanders said, thinking that Hillary Clinton had demanded an apology, said, I can't believe that she would demand an apology from me. I'm not asking her to apologize to all the families of people that lost people in Iraq, you know, since she voted for the Iraq War. Okay, but then, So Bernie Sanders answered the question with the best information that he was given, okay? But Tamron Hall reports it that Bernie Sanders was asked, to give an apology from a family member of one of the people that died in Sandy Hook, and that he answered the question trying to push blame on Hillary for her Iraq war and demanding an apology from her. First of all, he never demanded an apology from Hillary at all. Second of all, you're completely just erasing the fact that Bernie Sanders was asked the wrong question. I mean, Tamron Hall, you call yourself a reporter, and not to mention that this original interview wasn't in print form. It was on MSNBC's network.
The campaign reached a new low as alleged by supporters of Hillary Clinton.
Look, Cameron, Bernie Sanders has run an issue-oriented campaign from the beginning. He continues to do so, and as he expressed on television this morning, that's what he would like to continue to do. But let's be clear. The Hillary campaign wants to engage in these kinds of negative attacks, attacking his character, his qualifications. He is not going to be a punching bag for the Hillary Clinton campaign. They obviously, we're in New York now. They think it's a little more rough and tumble, and they think maybe someone from Vermont can't sort of engage in that level of campaigning. But believe me, we're fully prepared to go there if that's where they want to go.
Let me ask you this then, Jeff. This has been asked of the GOP candidates when they named a laundry list of reasons why Donald Trump should not be the president. Senator Sanders laid out several reasons why he believes Hillary Clinton is not qualified, including, money that's come in from Wall Street, super PACs. He talks about trade as well, and a number of other things that he named. Would he be able to support her if she's the nominee, based on what he has now said, that she is not qualified to be?
Okay, so Tamron Hall says, has Bernie Sanders' campaign reached a new low, as stated by the Hillary campaign? Okay, so she feels the need to mention again that Bernie Sanders may be running a dirty campaign. It's a new low for Bernie Sanders, as accused by Hillary Clinton's campaign. Okay, you already asked it once. You already implied that this is something that's a reoccurring conflict, and this time it's quoted from Hillary Clinton's campaign. I mean, come on. It's just a joke. Then she says, since Bernie said that Hillary was, that received money from Wall Street and mentioned her with super PACs and said that she's unqualified, do you think this is going to hurt the Democratic Party? Okay, well, Hillary's the one that decided to start slinging mud anyway. She's afraid. Her campaign's scared. They've lost 7 out of the last 8 states, and they're heading for New York, where they're going to have a battle there. So she's trying to, sling the mud and see what sticks, and she's trying to use all her friends in the corporate media. And so Tamron Hall, tries to put some blame game on Bernie Sanders for sticking up to for himself. This is probably really the only thing that could be even considered slightly mudslinging from Bernie Sanders. Everything else, her Wall Street connections, her money from super PACs. See, MSNBC and corporate media, you need to understand, that's not mudslinging, okay? It's not mudslinging when you're stating the truth. Okay, so she is connected with Wall Street. She's given speeches, for Goldman Sachs. She's taken money from super PACs. She's taken money from the oil industry. She's taken money from several, tons of lobbyists, just your rogue gallery of corruption in the system. So it's not Bernie Sanders slinging mud. He's just stating the truth. If that hurts the Democratic Party, well, I don't think that's really his concern. It's not that he wants to hurt the Democratic Party, but he wants to expose the corruption